just because I'm interested, we can segue into a Manchester United discussion a little bit because this is Transfer Central. We're talking about a lot of transfers all across the Premier League. So they have had the signings of Christian Eriksen, Lisandro Martinez. Is that it? Wait, no. They signed someone else, haven't they?
Malacia as well.
Tyrell Malacia. That's a good one. Not nearly enough for them, obviously. And Frenkie De Jong, who was supposed to be, the marquee, the fulcrum of Eric Ten Hag's Manchester United side, sitting at that lone DM, maybe in a pivot, but whatever it is, the side rotates and revolves around him. They had the deal agreed 6 weeks ago, like early July. They had the deal with Barcelona agreed, but they couldn't get Frenkie De Jong over the line for whatever reason. Now reports are suggesting from Gerard Romero that it's close for Chelsea. So I guess Owen, Frenkie De Jong, how big on both sides of the coin? How big of a miss is that for United? How big of a get is that for Chelsea?
It's like, it reminds me totally of the Nabil Fekir situation in a way for United fans, and I think they'll look back at it in years' time and kind of think, oh, if only that happened. Imagine if that happened. But the fact he's going to Chelsea, not only just kind of is a massive blow to United for losing and getting him away from losing De Jong and keeping him at Barcelona, the fact he's going to a Premier League rival or a team who you'd expect to be in and around them. So it's absolutely terrible for Manchester United. Another blow. Things around that club aren't very positive at the minute. Like, the fans aren't connected. Obviously, there's a whole problem, the ownership and the Glazers, and everyone knows about what's going on there. So I think they need to get like sort of fans, the ownership, the manager, all on side, all kind of in agreement. But with the owners they got at the minute, they're not going to get anywhere. That's simple as that, really.
It really is a case of ownership. Like, you have the Glazers who are not only watching the purse strings, they're also just kind of inept. Like, they just don't do things very well. Like every aspect of United isn't very well done. Versus, as Don Van Dijk mentions, Chelsea is going to be spending close to £300 million, and none of it will go for a center forward when that's what they need, at least most in my eyes. Anthony, for you on the Frenkie De Jong transfer and kind of how he swung from one side of the country to the other, how big a swing is that for either side that are on that deal?
It's massive for Man United. I sometimes think, I'm not sure if De Jong's maybe got that quality to sort of. I think he's been thrown world-class shouts like a few years ago, especially when he's at Ajax. But he's just an upgrade on everything Man United have got, isn't he? But Fred and McTominay they have to deal with, so I'm sure it'll be an upgrade for them. But for Chelsea, I wonder where he's going to play, because I feel like Tuchel's not really got like one clear plan. I feel like in this window, maybe he has obviously for himself, but like you said, they've not signed a striker, and that's their biggest issue. And although that comment that they've spent 300 million, but they need to be fair, they've lost half the defence. Who else has left them? Lukaku. So they needed Sterling, Koulibaly, and obviously De Jong's definitely going to help out with them. But it'll be interesting. I don't think Chelsea. It's a tough one, I feel like this is the first season in a while where we can't really predict the top four, but I'm still a bit uncertain on Chelsea if they'll make it in there. I still think it'll be Arsenal and Spurs. Spurs did some decent business in the transfer window, and Arsenal did as well. But with Chelsea, I think when you sign that many players at once and try and expect them all to just perform straight away, it's going to be difficult. But De Jong will be a great signing for Chelsea, I reckon. But it'll be interesting to see how he does in the Prem.
Louis, just more generally on Frenkie De Jong, how much do you rate him? Like how big of a push would he make for United versus for Chelsea? Because at least in my opinion, for Chelsea, it's like a gargantuan lake, and you're tossing a pretty big stone into it. But you toss that same stone into the United pond, and it's like causing a typhoon or whatever. Like, where do you stand on De Jong's quality and what he could have done for these sides?
Yeah, I mean, you've summed that up pretty well. I mean, as amazing as it would be for us to be in for him, and obviously the fee we could definitely afford, the wages are just astronomical though. And even though it's not my money, I would still disagree to making De Jong our highest paid player, or very close to it, because I'm sure he's on like over 300 already.
He's making what Salah's making.
Yeah,
at Liverpool now. He's making that at Barcelona, and I would to leave.
And how young? How old is he?
He's like 25. He's like mid-20s. I'll check.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we wanted to keep him in his absolute prime, like his next contract would be breaching 500,000 easily. So it's just not a viable option for us. But yeah, you summed it up pretty well. Like for Man United, that would change the course of their season pretty dramatically. I mean, maybe top four would still be a bit of a struggle. Well, a massive struggle with Frenkie De Jong, but I think they comfortably get into Europe with him. There's just a lot of dead wood that they still need to get out of that club. One of them being one of their starting centre backs last week as well. I'm amazed that he was starting. But as you said, for Chelsea, don't get me wrong, world-class player. He's a brilliant addition to any Premier League team. I don't see him having anywhere near as big of an impact if he joins that Chelsea team. I think he comes in, does a fantastic job, but I don't see him radically altering anyone's predictions for their season. I don't believe.
And I think it's because their midfielders are one of their best spots in the squad. Like, if you say name 3 midfielders from Premier League clubs, who has the best? I would say probably City with Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo.
Well, I think Chelsea fans tend to disagree. I think Chelsea fans have got quite a harsh outlook on their midfield. A lot of them hate Kovacic or really don't like him.
I think he's phenomenal.
But everyone outside of Chelsea thinks Kovacic is brilliant. I think Kante hasn't been the player that he once was for a little while, and Jorginho, apart from his penalties, can be a little bit hit and miss, I feel like. But yeah, it is very weird.
I think Jorginho would thrive under a different manager. I think Jorginho would do really well under Ten Hag. For me personally, I think that would be very interesting if United turned to him by not getting De Jong. Chelsea would really win that exchange, at least in my opinion, because I think Jorginho has 1, maybe 2 years left on his contract. But yeah, like Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic is your best 3 midfielders is a pretty strong, and that's not even including Mason Mount if you toss him into that discussion, Conor Gallagher. Like, they've got a wealth of central midfield options. And now they're adding De Jong into that, so they're just going to have a really strong unit there. And Owen and Anthony, I'll get your thoughts on it. Does De Jong change your predictions for Chelsea this season? Is he good enough to do that?
You look at the way they play. They play in a 3-4-3. So you got the wing backs, then kind of sort of level, if you like, with the 2 midfield players. You got Kovacic and Jorginho. That tends to be the sort of 2. So Jorginho, will he stay in the team? I don't think he will. I think De Jong will come in for him. And then you kind of look at it. What does he offer you in that team? I think he offers you a much better passing range. I think he's a lot more kind of box to box as well. A lot more kind of agile, just better pace wise than Jorginho is. So yeah, I think he'll take Chelsea to the next level, if I'm being completely honest. I think they're lacking that kind of spark in midfield. I think Kante, he's kind of been past it now for a long time. So to kind of bring in that player for the future as well, because if you look at the age of their current midfielders, Kovacic, I think he's about 29, 30. Jorginho is not particularly old. Kante is like 31. So yeah, obviously got Mason Mount, but they want to play him as a part of the front 3. So yeah, it makes total sense going forwards.
And Anthony, what I'll pose to you is, like the very obvious answer. I say, should we sign him? But then you look at Barcelona's wage bill. He's their highest paid player at 560,000 euros a week. So, what does that come out to? In pounds, it's 470,000 pounds a week. So he's making over 100,000 more a week than Salah is. That's pretty much a non-starter. So as much as you can, just exclude the wage side of it. Would he fit Liverpool as almost that right-sided 8 option?
I guess, but I think Kate is better than him.
Oh,
I think he's good, but just I don't know. There's just something about him. I just don't think he sort of improves that much. Whereas with Bellingham, he's still very young and he's got so much time to improve us and sort of fits us perfectly. Whereas with De Jong, I think just send him to Man United. What's it going to cost? 70 million, and like you said, the wages it's something you just can't ignore, man. 500k a week is ridiculous, man. Especially for someone of that quality. And just on your point as well, I can't believe Chelsea fans don't rate Kovacic. By the way, he's so good. I'd take him at Liverpool. He's perfect, but maybe because he didn't score enough goals or whatever. But the fact they rate Jorginho got Player of the Year, didn't he? And second in Ballon d'Or or something. It's ridiculous how they don't rate Kovacic as high as him. But that's enough about my rant.
I mean, Chelsea once again are just screwing their development. Like they've got all these young talents, but if they get De Jong, that's Conor Gallagher's Football Limited.
Yeah,
That's Billy Gilmore going out on another loan. Like they just don't learn their lesson, do they? Like half of this team was a rebuild 2 years ago with Frank Lampard. They've still got like most of those players are from that time. It hasn't worked, so now they're going on another like spending spree. I just don't get it. Like they've got new ownership, but it's the exact same process over and over again. And it worked for the first few years. You know, sack a manager, get the bounce, give him 200 million, win a league title like every other season. But it's being exposed, and it's just not working anymore. So they can't keep on doing this.